Why do I need one of these? I've got a full electrical system in my van, 12 volt and an inverter for 240 volts. I never thought I'd actually need one of these until, that is, I had a conversation with Dean in my Fire Pit Campervan Conversations, and he told me how he uses his, how he utilises it, and how it's actually saved his money on his electricity bills. So he convinced me. So here we are, and I'm talking about the Bluetti AC200Max. You'll have seen loads of these, and no doubt you know people who've had them, but it's only recently that other manufacturers have actually started to use the much safer technology that Bluetti use. So let's have a look at this. What's in the box, how I can possibly use it, and why I chose this specific unit. So this is a big box because it is a big unit. There's certainly no denying that. So in here we've got the cables and things, which I shall come on to in a moment. It's a beast, there's certainly no denying that. It is quite heavy at 28.1 kilograms, but it does pack a punch. There's a lot of technology in here. You certainly can't confuse it with just a battery and a basic inverter. This is a proper sine wave inverter, which I will come on to it a little bit in a moment. As far as dimensions are concerned, you've got a 42 centimetre length, you've got a 38.5 centimetre height, and then you've got a 28 centimetre depth. The battery capacity is a lithium iron phosphate, and it's 2048 kilowatts with a really, really good output. And that is one of the reasons why I chose this specific unit. And again, I'll come on to that in a moment. But first of all, what else do we get as well as the unit? So you get lots of instructions, which obviously quite useful to have. You've got the AC power adapter, and as you can see, I've not actually utilized that. So this unit itself provides 400 watts of charging power, and you can actually utilize two of these to provide a total of 800 watts just from AC power at home. So whether you're on an electric hookup and you can charge it via that, or you plug it in and you plug sockets at home. So 400 watts for one, or two for 800 watts. And then you've got a bag of cables. So inside this bag of cables, you've got all the other necessary bits which you need. So you've got obviously your 3-pin plug in the UK over here. So this connects to the power bank, which I've just shown. So that's what you can utilize to charge from your 240 volts at home. And then you've got lots of other cables in here. So importantly, you have this cable here, which is the aviation style cable. And what this is, this actually screws in. So it's 2-pin, and this can either go into the side for the input or actually at the front for the output, which I'll come on to in a moment. On the other end of this, you've got the XT connection, and this XT connection will connect to the other cables which you've got here. So first of all, we've got the cigarette lighter, the 12 volt accessory socket as it's often known, and this can be utilized to actually charge your power bank, your power system, whilst you're driving the vehicle. So you can connect that into there, that goes into the side for the inputs, and then that goes into the accessory socket of your vehicle, and this can provide charge. I don't think it's something which I'm going to be using myself. More likely, myself, I will be using this cable. So what this cable is, this is the solar, and it will look quite familiar, I'm sure, to some of you, because this has got the MC4 connections on the end. So if you've got a solar panel on the roof of your vehicle presently, and you've got MC4 connectors, which are in an accessible location, you could perhaps be actually utilizing the solar panel from your current vehicle, connecting one end of the XT into the other, the correct way, obviously, properly, and then putting that inside, and then that will provide the input. Now this unit is capable of charging from solar alone 900 watts, which is absolutely huge. But your solar panel array to be that size is actually going to be very big. Now I've got the PV350, which is a huge panel in itself. Now this panel is the PV350, as I say, and it's a 350 watt solar panel, but it's really good. I mean, look at this handle. It's in a nice case, which is all securely connected together. And then you've got this little pouch here, which contains, integrated within it, the actual leads, which is the MC4. Now, great, and I've often talked previously about my solar panel and how good it is, and the fact that it's on the vehicle at all times. There's no need, no concern about me having to think about where I'm going to put it when I park. But actually, there is another side to that story. So the panel on my roof is 150 watt, which obviously isn't a big panel. That's a monster at 350. But the problem which I have with my solar panel is if I've got a roof box, or I've got a surfboard, or I'm carrying anything else on top of that roof, then that panel's actually going to be covered. So if I was going away for 2 weeks and I'm going to be taking the roof box with me, because obviously we need a lot of stuff, then that could possibly mean that with that roof box on my roof for 2 weeks, my van's not going to see any solar charge. So actually, having a detachable briefcase one could really be of benefit. But I am going to test that out. I'm not going to get that out today, but in a future video, you will see how well that panel actually does charge this unit. I've not done it yet, so I can't even give you any clues. But I know a lot of people have. I do know other people who've got this, and they think it's absolutely brilliant. And I think that is going to be really useful for this. Let's have a look at the unit itself. So first of all, you'll see on the side here, we've got these two inputs here. And what these are actually inputs to actually expand this battery bank. So if 2048 watts isn't good enough for you, you can actually expand it to a maximum of 8,192 watt hours. That's just a huge amount of capacity. Are you going to need that? Well, if you do, you've got the opportunity to do so. So this bit here, this is the connection which I say about the aviation style socket. Now this has the cable, so that just plugs in there like that. You connect that on, and then that isn't going to come out. The beauty of it is, that doesn't easily come out because it's secured in place, so that's really good. And then you can connect that, like I say, onto your whatever you're going to be using to charge. So in this case, MC4s, connect that to the solar panel, and away you go. And then this one here is for the connecting the AC. So you'd plug your AC power brick in there, and then that enables you to do that charge through that. You can actually utilize both these at the same time. So if you've got 900 watts of solar power and 400 watts from your AC, then you can actually charge at 1300 watts total at any one time, which really is good. But anyway, on to the interesting bit, which you really, really are wanting to be here for, and that is the outputs. So as far as outputs are concerned, over here we've got a 12 volt, 10 amp cigarette lighter type socket, the accessory socket, which you know of. So as I say, that's 10 amp. So you can connect your devices onto that. As far as camping and caravanning is concerned, maybe you've got an inflatable airbed, you've got an air inflator for your paddle boards or something like that. So that's a really good socket which you can utilize as far as that's concerned. And then below that, you've got another aviation style socket, and that's the bar which is best suited for actually integrating into your van. And I'm not going to fully talk about that today. I'm going to leave that to a qualified electrician who can tell us the pros and cons of that. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not something which I want to do, fully integrating it into my electrical system, because I've got things such as LED lights, fridges, dash cams, things like that connected to my leisure battery. Now, if I've not got a leisure battery and I've only got this as a full system, then I don't really want to be removing this, because then the parking mode of my dash cam's not going to work. The lights aren't going to work in my van until I actually get back and re-hook it up. Or you could potentially utilize it, integrate it as a battery backup. But is there a better way of doing it? Is there a better way of just actually charging your leisure battery rather than fully integrating it into your system? So we'll speak to an electrician about that and get his thoughts. So next to that, we've got this connection here. Now this connection is the 5521. 5.5 millimeter, I think it is, plug. It's not really something which we come across an awful lot here, but you will find that some LED lights, the LED strip lights, some disco lights which you've got on your maybe your halo roof, that's the kind of connection which that is for. So you've got two of those. There again, 12-volt output. They're there if you need them. So then we've got USB-C, and this is USB-C 100, and this is brilliant for if you've got laptops and things like that. The USB-C here can connect straight from your cable straight into laptop and give a maximum of up to 100 watts charge. Also very good for your iPads, your tablets, mobile phones. These are all regulated outputs, so it should be really good, really quick charging for each of those devices. And then as far as USB-A is concerned, we've got a couple of fast ports here. We've actually got four. We've actually got four outputs for USB-A. So plenty of charging for your mobile devices. You really aren't lacking of mobile device charging. And if you're thinking, actually, maybe 5 isn't enough, you've actually got two on top here. You've actually got two wireless charging, two 15-watt wireless charging pads. So nobody is going to be able to have the mobile phone or tablet without any charge, because there's just a plethora of different options here. And then realistically, why are you buying such a device such as this? And that is the 240 volts. Now, my electrical system in my van is really good. It is a good electrical system, 12 volt and 240 volt, but it hasn't got a big inverter. The inverter which I've got for it is only 800 watt. And one of my pleasures is actually drinking nice coffee. And I can't do that in my van because I've not got enough inverter power to be able to provide charge for a coffee machine. This does. This is 2,200 watts of actual output power for the four 240 volt 3-pin sockets here. That is really good power, enough to be providing for my coffee machine, my Ryobi charger, my e-bike charger, things such as that. I can even be utilising it for an induction hob, a grill, an oven, a hairdryer. Not that I need to dry my hair, but maybe one of the kids or my wife would. You know, some kettles as well will be able to be powered by that, so my kids can have a hot chocolate. Things which I can't do at the moment in my van, other than boiling water on one of the stoves which I've got. So 2,200 watts of power with actually 4,800 watts of surge power. 2,200 watts combined between the lot. So I couldn't have a kettle coming out of one, my coffee machine coming out of another one, and then a hairdryer coming out of another one. That is going to be too much for the actual system to take. But I'm not going to be doing all that at the same time. 2,200 watts is fantastic, and I can't wait to get going with it. So these, as I say, have got the 3 pins because we are in the UK over here. So you've got your 4 there, which is really, really useful. I am going to do a follow-up video just showing how I've actually utilised it, because there is a reason now that I do actually need this, where actually a few months ago I didn't need it. So I'll come on to that in a future video. And I'm going to be showing you how to charge it, how I can charge it, how I can use different devices, your air fryers and induction hobs and charging devices and things. But don't confuse this with a cheap battery and a cheap inverter. Yeah, your mate might have a 4,000 watt inverter, which he paid 30 quid for on one of the cheap sites, but it really isn't the same. This is a pure sine wave inverter. It's got an MPPT controller for the solar panel. It's got a battery monitoring system to make sure that all the systems are actually running properly. It's got one physical button, which is here, and then you've got this LCD display, and this LCD display actually shows what the battery's doing, the percentage which is left, how much it's charging, how much power it's using at any one given time. It's a really good device, and if you did actually integrate it into your system, or it was just tucked away, or you just fancied being geeky, you can actually just download an app on your phone and control it via the app on your phone. And also, you don't have to have the AC running at all times. You can turn each independent DC circuit and AC circuit off independently just by pressing the buttons or using it on your app. I know I've got lots of benefits by utilizing this system. Maybe you have too. And when I talk about the full integration with the electrician about this socket here, this is 30 amp DC, which really could be useful for actually powering your 12-volt electrical system in your van if you wanted to fully integrate it. Or let's have a look at the other options. I'm certainly looking forward to speaking to him just to see how I can actually make my system better by actually utilising this. But why Bluetti for me? Well, it's simple really, because when these systems were becoming really popular a few years ago, it was Bluetti Power Oak who had the much safer technology, far less likely to catch fire and burst into flames. The technology utilised by lithium iron phosphate is far superior. Do not confuse it with lithium ion. Different technologies, especially when you're using it in a motor vehicle. I mean, how do you keep this safe? How does it stop rolling around? I've seen people just plonk them in the vans. Now, I'm sure you've seen YouTube videos of lithium ion devices bursting into flames, your scooters and your skateboards and other devices, if you chuck them against walls and things. Well, if you've got a device such as this, which is unsecured in your van, and it's using the lithium ion, not the lithium iron phosphate, it could be a big problem. So that's why I always, right from the start, always liked the Bluetti, because the safer systems were just far more appealing to me. I didn't think I'd really ever need one of these, but speaking to Dean and finding out how he does actually save money on his utility bills and things like that, and the uses, and with the new Fire Pit Campervan Conversation series, which I've got going, I actually need one of these now. And if you haven't seen that series, then do have a look at that here, and the conversation with Dean. You can see that here. Thanks for watching. Take care. I hope to see you soon.